We're now in Dcad lesson 21F, and we're continuing with structure. So what we're going to deal with today is our upper floor window headers. And I'm going to hit Z for zoom and zoom up on this floor plan. We've already placed our windows. We did that during our last lesson. And both the windows that are on the north side and on the south side are all basically the same windows. They're all 3050 single hunks. And the windows that we have on the north side down here that are actually over the garage door have a 4.5-inch space between them. What that does is it allows a king stud and a trimmer on each side of the king stud that'll accommodate the header above. So what we're going to do is show you how we gather the information to figure out what the loading is on these window headers. And what we're going to do initially is hit L for layers. And I'm going to call up the roof plan real quick because we just work from the top down. It's gravity load. So I'm going to call up the roof plan. And we know that our depth along the north-south axis is 22 feet. And we have a 2-foot eave overhang. We'll just verify that real quickly. There's our 22 feet. And we'll just do a dimension for our 2 feet overhang. So what that means is from the ridge to the wall is 11 feet because it's 22 feet total, and it's equal pitch roof. And then we have a 2-foot overhang. So what that means is that this wall along here on this north wall is dealing with essentially 13 feet total of roof load, 11 foot on the inside portion of it, and then 2 feet for the eave overhang. And so our roof loading, to simplify it, is going to be 13 feet. Again, the 11 feet and the 2 feet times 30 for our live load, and it's going to be 13 feet times 20 for our dead load. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Z and get rid of those dimensions right now. And I'm going to call up our spreadsheet for a calc sheet. So I'm going to go File, New, go to my templates, and I'm going to call up a calc sheet. See, calc sheet right there, that'll work. And I'm going to give it its job code, go to caps lock, and D0604, and the member is going to be D0604 space RB-1. So that stands for roof beam 1. And we have a number of them. I mean, as I remember on the floor plan, we have 4 along the front and 1 along on the north wall and 1 along the south wall. Now for our entry door and the window adjacent to it and our bathroom window, those are going to be a little bit different. But anyway, this is going to give us our window header size that's going to be common to these 3050 windows that we've drawn in on the floor plan. So I'm going to just click on this and make it a big fat circle around it. It is a beam and it's a roof application, so I'm going to click on it again. And I'm going to just call this D0604 RB-1 north/south window headers. Abbreviate a little bit. Okay. And let's see. Let me go back down to the floor plan here. And we know that our windows are 3/0. That's a rough opening. It's a 3-foot rough opening. And so I'm hit V for vector just to verify that and go from here to here, gravity move, and I'm looking up here my distance X, and that's telling me 3 feet. So no boo-boos there. And we know that these windows are going to have a trimmer on each side, which is going to be 1.5 inches. It's going to be a 2x6 trimmer. And so what that is going to mean is that each window header is actually going to be 3 feet plus 1.5 inches on each end, you know, to bear on the trimmers. So the actual beam length is going to be 3 foot 3 foot and 3 inches. Okay, so we're going to go back to our spreadsheet here, and that's going to be 3.25, and the span is also going to be just a single span of 3.25. Bearing locations are 0 and tab 3.25 once again. So now in dealing with our loading, I'm just going to type in, go out of caps lock and type in roof. And the live is going to be 30 pounds per square foot, and dead load is going to be 20 pounds per square foot. Load type is going to, at this point, is PSF, pounds per square foot. Spacing on our first spacing is the eave overhang. We'll just deal with these north windows, and I'm going to say that's 2 feet. And on our spacing 2, that's 11 feet. And our duration, it's a snow load, so that's going to be 115%. So I can actually do some additional calculations down here that will help facilitate things a little bit, just make things a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is just take all of this stuff for right now, and I'm going to click down here, and I'm going to actually create my actual pounds per linear foot for the roof load. So so this is going to say equals, and it's telling me this is a protected sheet, so I'm going to go to review and unprotected so I can mess with some of these other cells. And so I'm going to hit make a little formula here at equals 30, or that cell, times, and then bracket there, this plus this, and then hit tab. So there's that 390 is our pounds per linear foot. So I'm going to do the same thing for the 20. I'm going to type in equals and click on that cell, times, and then parentheses, this 2 feet plus the 11 feet, and that's our 260 pounds, and this is going to be PLF. Okay, and it's still 115. Okay, and I'm just going to put totals here, or actually roof total. Okay, so really at this point in time, the only additional loading consideration we have above these windows is going to be a little bit of wall weight. You know, the header itself, and there's just a little bit of wall above it. So I'm going to go back to our floor plan here, and I'm going to scroll on down, hit Control W just to zoom out to its max. And again, we have our elevation lines here, so I can figure out what that wall height is. It's real simple to figure out this wall height above the window rough opening. So hit Z for zoom, and I'm just going to hit V for vector, and just K to snap to that line, and then just kind of go down here to the top of the actual window rough opening and gravity move. And I'm going to look up here in my dy, distance y, to see what that number is. And it's 1.1667. That's 1 foot 2. Okay, so that's how much wall we have, wall weight we have above those windows, 1 foot 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our spreadsheet. I'm going to open up an additional spreadsheet, and that one's going to be File and New and Templates. And here I want to go to wall weights. Okay, so wall weights are here somewhere. Here we are. Our template, and so this is a hardy plank wall with 2 with 6 studs. Stud spacing 24 inches on center, but our wall height is only going to be 1 foot 2. It's not going to be 8 feet above that window. So I'm just going to type in 1.1667, which is a decimal for 1 foot 2. And then when I hit enter, watch these guys change. We'll know both the pounds per linear foot of wall and pounds per square foot of wall. So I'm going to hit enter. And so basically our wall weight is just 15.38 pounds per linear foot. So I'm going to just click on that, hit Control C to copy it to my clipboard, go over to my other one, and this is just dead load. So I'm just going to just click right here and paste that guy in there. And so that's our pounds, and this is going to be a PLF load. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. And this is from wall above. And type, it's a uniform load, and begins at 0 and ends at 3.25. This runs the whole length. There is no live load because it's just wall. And duration, I'm going to call that 100%. Some people would say 90. I'm going to say 100. Okay, so this, now we have our calc sheet pretty much filled out. I'm going to go ahead and save it. So I'm going to go File, Save As, And I want to put that in D0604 and structural calcs, and I need to do a new folder for roof beams. So I'm going to right click on calcs and go down to new and then folder and type in roof beams. And then I'm going to double click on that to open it. And I'm going to call this D0604 RB-1 calc sheet 1. Save. Okay, so we're squared away there. So now we know the length of our header. We know the various loads that are being imposed on the header. So now all we have to do is figure out what the header has to be. And we'll have an individual header over each one of these windows. Again, we have a king stud between them. And so we're going to go ahead and just calc out one of these headers to see what we really need to have here. So Control W, just to zoom back out. And hang on a second. Okay, so I've gone ahead and logged into my BC Calc program here so we can calc this guy out. And so what we're going to do essentially is, we don't need all this getting started stuff, I don't think. So what we're dealing with is a roof beam. So we're going to go up here in our BC Calc menu, and let's just take a look and see if we have any D0604. See if we have calcs. We have these are garage door header, window header, UFB 2. So those are old calcs. So so that's okay. We're good with those. We don't need to reopen any of them. Let's go ahead and close this, and then we're going to go to and find a new roof beam right here, and click on that guy. And I'm going to click here. I have to double click. Yep, and double clicked, and it should be loading up with a brand new fresh roof beam. So it's a single span, and we know that our length is, and if we forget, we no longer need wall weights. I'm going to get rid of that. Don't say we don't need that. So we know that that our length is 3 foot 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in there. So I'm just going to call it 3.25, and it'll change it to 3 foot 3 inches, and we're going to be bearing, or actually not actually bearing on wall plates. We're going to be bearing on trimmers. So probably thing to do is just to call that a column, and call that a column also. And support width is 5.5 inches. Actually, 1.5 inches. I think that's what they want there, is what the actual bearing width is. No accessories width or any of that kind of stuff. So we're good with all that. We're 3 foot 3 there. So I'm going to go click on my settings, and member slope is 0. Tributary width of area loads is actually, I'm going to change that to 13 feet. But we're not dealing with any area loads per se at this point. And maximum depth is 11 7/8. Might as well just leave that in there. Service condition is dry, and its usage is definitely a roof beam. And we're not going to worry about live load deflection because that's going to be actually fairly minimal. It's a roof beam anyway. So I'm now going to go to our loads and click on our loads and see what we have. So up here you can see you have when you hover your cursor over something, it'll tell you what it is. Really pretty straightforward. And we're dealing with uniform loads all the way anyway on these guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a uniform linear load. And we already know what that is because we've already done our homework here with our little handy dandy calc sheet here. So our live load is going to be 390 pounds per linear foot, and our dead load is 260 pounds. 260 pounds per linear foot with a 115 duration. So back here, click here. So live load is 360. So and actually our live load is 0 because we're dealing with snow load. Dead load is going to be, see, that was 260 and 390. So go to 260 here for our dead load, and they're saying that's at 90%. Okay, that's good enough for me. And our snow load is going to be 390. Oops. Gotta watch those typos, they'll get you. Okay, and this is right on top, so it's not a side load. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. Okay, so we have that load already entered in, and we also have an additional load that we're going to do for the wall. And the wall is pretty light. It has no snow load on it, so we can just uncheck that. And our wall load once again is 15.38. Let me fix that. See, yes, I'm going to make that format and number. Okay, there we go. 15.38 pounds per linear foot for our dead load. And so I'm going to click on that. 15.38. We're going to get really precise here. I'm going to go ahead and save that. So these are the loads that are that we're dealing with as far as the window header is concerned. It's dealing with this upper load here deals with the entire roof load that is bearing, and this lower load here is just dealing with that little bit of wall, actually the header and all that above it. The header will probably be accounted for its own self weight in the calculations, but I like to in any case create the entire wall, because there's going to be sheathing depending on the type of siding and stuff like that you want to include in anyway. So now let's see, we can look at products. And what we're going to do here, once this loads up, is we're going to scroll way on down here until we get to Douglas Fir, DF number 2. And this is a relatively Douglas Fir large, DFL number 2. And I want a 3.5 inch width. And I think what I'm going to do is try a 4x6. Might end up with a 4x8, but we're going to try a 4x6 to see if that'll work. And it's just a single, so I'm going to click on the 4x6 there, and I'm going to see how that performs. And you can see over here we're all good to go with the 4x6. So the 4x6 is only at the moment is only 41.3% of its capacity, and the interior is 26.3. Member bearing, we're good on all of that. So we know we have it here. This tells you what your total load is, and this you can see it up here in the diagram also. So it looks like this is good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and save this guy. I can figure out how to do that. Actually, I think as I remember, this thing saves automatically. So I'm going to click here on. We've already seen the analyze member. I want to see what the member report says. We'll call that up, and we'll see what appears to be a PDF, and this gives you the entire breakdown, what the loads are on both B1 and bearing B2, and you have both the dead loads and the snow loads for the whole enchilada there for each window. And we can go down and look at this and see what the a moment, inch here, what the total deflection is. When it says L over 999, that means it's so insignificant it doesn't even really matter. It kind of shows you in parentheses what the deflection is, but it's almost nothing. That 4x6 handles this. That 4x6 number 2 Douglas Fir handles this really well, really easily. So now that we have this, I can go ahead and download this, and it's going to download it as a PDF. So I'm going to go to my folder, go down to projects, D0604, structural, calcs, roof beams, and I'm going to call this D0604 RB-1 and click save. So now and we can deal with the other window headers later, but I just wanted to kind of run through this one. This is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and close this down. We no longer need the software at this point for the rest of this lesson. Let's see, leave site. Yeah, we're out of there. And go on out. Okay, and just save this guy and go on out of that. So what we're going to do is zoom up on this area here real quickly. And typically what I do is I'll do a roof beam plan. So I'm going to go to layers, and I want to show all layers. And somewhere down here by layer 39, I'm going to just make a special layer for roof beams. And make that current active. Click OK. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to layers again and call up layer 20, which is our lines layer. Click OK. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom up on one particular window here and hit V for vector. And I'm going to make this, actually I'll go ahead and use that line type right now. Hit Z for zoom, zoom up on this, and I'm going to go up here to my line type layer and do a same as, and click on floor plan beams above structural. Click on that, and you can see that it's already changed the line type to that particular type of line. And then I like to make these guys bright red so they show up. So I'm going to change my color there and hit Control M and then Control M again to go back to where I was. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, usually when I do my wall bracing, I come in about 2 inches from the outside. Let me scroll out here a little bit. I usually come in about 2 inches from the outside to show where the wall bracing panels are. And for my beams, I usually come in at about 1.5 inches or so from the inside, just so those two aren't overlapping. Puts a little bit of space between them anyway. So I'm going to hit V for vector, and I'm going to hit gravity move to this portion of the window, and I'm going to hit the point relative. I'm going to go minus 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to come down minus 1.5 inches. Oops. Try that again. Oh, minus 1.5 inches. I didn't get the inches in there. And then I'm just going to hit H for orthogonal mode and come out over here and just gravity move, and then go 1.5 inches and 0, and then hit enter. And there's my beam. So I'm going to hit T now, and I'm going to make this angle at 90 degrees. And I'm just going to type in RB-1 right here. Now, the quick and dirty way to deal with this is just to take this and this, select them, and I'm just going to put a handle here right at the outside edge of the window and hit in and in and in again. So we have our north wall windows here, and I'm going to hit in again and put one right over this, and I'm going to rotate things. In. One more there, and are still selected, so I'm going to hit R for rotate, tab 180, and got a lot of artifacts there. Control R, and I'm going to hit M for move, and click right there. And I think my little, I'm going to rotate that. Okay. So now we have also our window header for there. So now we have all of our 3050 window headers in place. We have one more over here that we need to do also, though. So let me go ahead and just do that. Click this guy here, zoom up, and click and click. Oops. And I'm just going to go to the edge right here, the inside edge of the window this time, and hit N to copy it. And right click to that same point, and I'm going to hit R to rotate, tab minus 90, and I'm going to scroll out a little bit and hit M for move, and right click to this little point of the window right there. And so now we have also our window header, because this is also the 3050 single hung right adjacent to the door. So now the only other roof beams we need to do here are the door header here and the window header for the bathroom. We'll deal with those on the next lesson. So that concludes Dcad lesson 21F, dealing with the structure. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how these point loads from these window trimmers deals with that garage door header down below. So hopefully we can get to that on the next lesson. Okay, that concludes this lesson.